What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Man Card Podcast. Mitchell's not here, so he usually does the your favorite, my favorite, but I just say welcome back to the show. We're glad you're here. Joining me today is a very special guest. I'll introduce to him a little bit later. If you want to intro us with the quote of the week, why don't you go for it?
Yeah, so I think the quote of the week is going to be fair enough by myself 6 months in the past when I got pulled over.
Hit it. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the show. Joining me today is a new old guest, John Hendricks.
New old.
Hey, you've been on a couple shows.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
3 or 4. Is this the 4th?
Oh, yes, this is the 4th.
Okay, so this is the one. This is like 4th time's a charm.
Beautiful.
That's
I've really,
not a saying.
Picked up my, figured out how to be a podcaster. Not really, but I'm trying.
This time at least, you're sobered up. You're well slept.
That's right.
Well slept, kind of. You've been a busy man.
Sure.
So you've been going pretty hard with work and play. Work hard, play hard.
Yeah, I mean, you have to when you're young.
Oh, definitely.
You don't want to wait until you're old to play, because at that point you can't play quite as hard.
Anymore.
So,
although I do hear that old folks' homes are rampant with STDs.
Ooh. That's not a thought I thought I'd have today.
I'll tell you right now, it's not something I knew, but recently I found out that old people are shagging it up. And I guess it's like I'm about to die, I might as well get my rocks off before I go kind of thing.
I guess I can see the logic. I'm not sure how I feel about the logic, but I can see it.
No,
I can see it, so...
Yeah, but anyway, we'll move on from that wonderful tidbit of information on this Monday morning. And we will start off just with a little recap.
Sure.
Because you just recently got back from a trip, probably like, 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah, I guess about a week and a half ago.
Yeah, because the day you got back, you came and hung out with me and some of the guys from the wedding.
Absolutely.
So what was the trip? What went on?
So with the firm that I'm working with now, I get the week of 4th of July off. I don't have to take PTO for it. It's just that whole week for the entire firm blocked off.
That's great.
It's super, super cool. So for the longest time, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with that time and how I wanted to fill it. And eventually I came to the conclusion, you know what? I've always had this long-standing goal of wanting to see the 7 world wonders by the time I'm 25. Now, COVID kind of threw a wrench in that plan, but I mean, I can't be unthankful for the, I guess, opportunities that I have had. So anyways, Italy initially came to my mind just because I have not seen the Roman Colosseum yet, and that is one of the 7 world wonders. And so obviously I did a little bit of research and kind of made like a last minute decision. Yo, you know what? I'm going to Italy. Let's do it.
Dude, what a move.
Yeah.
How did it feel like you submitted your reservation for the tickets? Did you have a place to stay before you left?
So it's funny you ask that. The way that I enjoy traveling is I like to go in with zero plan.
See, this guy, I'm telling you, because this is a way to look at the world that I think very few people feel comfortable doing.
Sure, yeah.
Because it's all about the prep. It's all about the planning for people, and it's much less about the journey or the excitement of being there. It's much more about the, like, I checked the box and went there.
Yeah. So, and I think I touched on the last time I was on the podcast. I touched on my trip, my long road trip where I went solo.
Right.
And with that trip, I had a loose plan, but I figured out towards the beginning that I was going to have way more fun just kind of winging it. Because when you have no plan, you have more time to create memories and things that you wouldn't expect if you had every single like minute of your day like down like on paper.
Right, and you can't be disappointed either.
Exactly,
because like there's no expectation.
I also like to think that I'm fairly social, and when I'm in country, when I'm in a place that's not my own home, whether that I guess not just country, but across the United States. But I really enjoy like asking locals, yo, like, what's good, what's cool, what should I go see, what should I go eat, what should I go take a picture of, what do you like to do here?
Yeah.
And I found that a lot of times, like, that's how you get to see some of the coolest things when you're
That's awesome.
out doing whatever you're doing. So I think that I'm gonna stand by that and live by that for the rest of my days. I think.
Hey, cross our fingers. Right there.
That's right. So I do think in some regard you have to have a tiny bit of planning, but for the most part, I really do believe that you're gonna get the most out of the experience if you just kind of
just go with the flow.
Send it. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. So when in Rome.
Exactly. When in Rome.
Do majority of people there speak English? Like, give me the lowdown on how you got around. Because, like, do you speak Italian?
I sure don't. I do speak Spanish, and there's some similarities.
Hola.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a little bit of similarity. So there's some words that are fairly similar. I mean, obviously the languages are different, but
romance is romance, man. I'm telling you.
Exactly. So I guess in the grand scheme of things, if they didn't speak very good English, we could kind of pseudo communicate through my broken Italian Spanish combo and
body
their
language
and their like pseudo Italian English combo. So it just ended up working, which was really cool. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you were able to get it. Did you use like translating apps or like?
I sure did. There was more than one occasion where I put my phone in somebody's face, had them speak into it, me read it, me type something, and then hold it up to them. So you just gotta do what you gotta do.
That's like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, talk about a cheat code to life.
Oh,
you
it
can
makes
go
it
anywhere.
so easier. Like, I couldn't imagine being, I guess, raised in a time without a smartphone and trying to get around somewhere where I had nothing.
I mean,
like,
that was
no idea.
That was literally our parents.
Which boggles my mind.
It's crazy. Like they grew up going to college. Where, I mean, we were just there together at college. We only recently graduated.
Yeah.
And they had to go through and actually read books.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
crazy.
How do you
books?
get
what
books?
is that?
What the heck? But like, how do you get knowledge on things?
Yeah.
And this is a concept that I firmly stand by.
Sure.
Because I am disappointed by Google and just smartphones in general.
Okay.
Because it ruins the kind of
curiosity,
waiting for an answer.
Okay.
So like when you're with a group of people and
Sure.
somebody says, man, hey, whatever, Mount Kilimanjaro is X amount of feet high.
Sure.
And you go, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I'm going to check that though. Or like, I have to get the answer. Is that right? Or somebody says, hey,
I see what you're saying.
Hey, who's X from this movie? I can't remember. And you go, oh yeah, hold on, let me just Google it real quick. There's no just wonder in the world anymore.
You know, now that I think about it too, like, you don't have to remember things.
No.
You don't have to retain information. You just read it and it's out.
It's
gone. Yeah.
It's gone. I mean, I feel like that's kind of halfway how I got through school.
Yeah, me too.
The pump and dump right there.
Yep.
The read and just spray and pray. Hopefully I get some of these answers right.
Yep.
But it's like, but that's it. That's literally it, is going through and saying, like, in a conversation with people, you're no longer having a conversation and just being amazed by what people have to say.
Definitely.
It's like, okay, what are you saying? Grain of salt. Look up immediately, debunk, and then in your face, I got it right.
Yeah.
Because you didn't get it right. Google got it right. But you get to take the credit for it.
Yeah. Crazy. I've actually never thought of it that way.
Isn't it so annoying? Because now you're never going to get it out of your head. Because you're going to be with people, and you're going to be saying like, oh, hey, what's that? What was that movie? Oh, man, I want to remember. I can't. What was that Quentin Tarantino movie? No, in normal times, I don't know.
Until I see it again.
Yeah. And then you go out of your way, give that person a phone call, see them next on the train, on the way to work, and say, hey,
remember that?
I remember that movie from the conversation we had before. It was The Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
Tell me how much more connected the world would be if we had intentionality behind conversation like that.
That's an interesting way to think about that.
Because there's no remember the conversation you had with somebody you know last week?
Sure.
You probably don't.
No,
remember.
I don't. You're right. No, I do not.
It's frustrating to me because I take a lot of pride in prioritizing relationships with people.
Sure.
Just that I know.
Right.
Reaching out, making them come over. Right now, like here you are. And I was like, hey, what are you doing tonight? Like, I want to sit down and I want to talk to you.
Definitely.
And And it sometimes just doesn't happen in the real world anymore because people are out there for clicks. They're out there for likes. This is not what that show's about. Okay, I just want to put that out there for everybody. This is not to get clicks. This is not for likes. I'm not doing it for money. I'm not doing it for anything like that. This is strictly a passion project. I don't get paid. I don't get money from this.
Definitely, yeah.
So this is just me sitting down with some of my best friends and Mitchell as one of my best friends having conversation.
And like you were kind of explaining it to me before we even started the show, this is really more about like capturing little moments of your life. And like later down the road, you're going to be able to look back and be like, oh my gosh, like remember that one time like we were talking about this, or I thought that, or whatever. And you can go back.
Stupid. Can you believe that? Can you believe I said that? I'm a dummy.
You can look back and see how much you've grown, which I think is a really, really, really cool thing that you now have and possess.
Speaking of looking back in time.
Oh boy.
So one of the first episodes that we had on this show, we had you on, and one of the conversations in that episode, I'll pop on the screen right now what episode that was. I cannot remember for the life of me, but just go back if you catch up with the shows. Come on, what are you doing? So we were talking about our partners because that was a time when I was dating Ellie and I knew I was going to get married to her.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wasn't engaged to her.
Which is crazy.
Yeah,
crazy to think about now, because like now all I think about when I think of Noah and Ellie is like the best, most perfect couple in the world. Like
that's not true.
It's true.
Everybody has their struggles.
It's true.
But no, like we weren't even engaged. We were dating. And I knew at that time, I was like, look, I'm very serious. I'm in it for the long haul.
Definitely.
I'm going to propose and get married to this girl for sure.
Yeah.
And y'all were kind of, not shitting on me, but kind of just saying like, there's no way I would want that. And speaking for y'all, because that wasn't a priority. Like, and I made very clear under no uncertain terms that my priority in life was I want to go to school, find a girl, not necessarily at the school, but maybe in that order, date, get married, and have a family. And I'm on my way there right now. I actually just got a text earlier today that my cousin and her husband, they're pregnant.
Well, congratulations to them.
Congratulations, Shelby
awesome.
and Dan.
Yeah.
They were at the wedding. So, and she was the
probably
one who
met them.
She was the one who was texting me saying, "Hey, we're going to the liquor store. Do you guys need anything?"
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Shelby.
Thank you, Shelby, and Dan, of course. But like that's super special to look back. So y'all were saying that was not a priority. Has your opinion changed and outlook on not only dating but also what you want out of a partner in life? That was kind of a big two-part question. So just noodle on that.
I'm just kind of like taking it all in right now. Absolutely, in both regards. I think in terms of my priorities in life in general, I always thought that I wanted to kind of do the traditional route of being in school, find the killer job, make killer money, go be a stud on Wall Street or whatever.
Why not?
And be successful in that regard. So I wanted the success first, and then I wanted, I guess, whatever came after. And I guess even now I still don't really know what that is. But I would say my priorities in that have changed after being in a situation where I've been working a lot, and like knowing what's to come for, I guess, probably likely 30, 40 years of my life.
Yeah.
I think my priorities have shifted in a way like that I do want a family. I do want somebody to share my life with at some point. Yeah. And I know that maybe like right now is not the best time for me. And I know that maybe like it might be a while, but I do think my priorities have shifted in a way where like before it was like, no, I don't need that. And I don't necessarily want that right now, to like, if it happened to me right now, I would be happy.
Yeah. Because not to just, I'll kind of build on that.
Sure.
So when Ellie and I started dating,
right,
I was at a time in my life where I was like wild and free.
Yeah.
I was very single as a freshman, wilding out, going to parties, having fun, doing all that crazy stuff.
Right.
I was in no focus mode because I knew I had the goal. Like you and I were on the same page. Mm-hmm. We both wanted to have that kind of family. Like at some point, we wanted to build a family.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm free. I'm young. I'm not looking for that at all right now.
Yeah. And
it sounds like you're kind of in the same headspace where it's like, I'm free right now. That's something I would want, but I'm not necessarily looking right now. It might not be the best choice.
Yeah.
So at that time, I wasn't looking and neither was Ellie. Lo and behold, God put us both in each other's lives.
Yeah. You know, now that you say that, like a lot of the successful relationships that I see in my life, that's kind of been the case where they weren't looking, they weren't seeking it out. They weren't trying to like find, okay, I need the one now. It was just kind of like fell into their lap, and then it became a successful love story after
pressure
that.
Yeah.
There's no pressure. Yeah.
It's just gonna kind of fall apart because you're trying so hard.
Or there shouldn't be pressure, I should say.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's especially for Ellie and I, like we weren't like our journey together didn't like happen overnight. Like we knew each other years and years before, just as people.
Definitely.
Right. And so we were friends first that whole summer. We hung out like every day, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it really was just us prioritizing being around each other more than anything. Like there was no ulterior motive. There was no like frustration of like, oh, I want this relationship to work. We both thought it wasn't going to work when we started dating.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah. We were both like, oh, okay, we'll see this, you know, we'll have some fun and hang out and go do fun things. But I'm not sure. Like he's kind of in a weird place right now. And, oh, you know, she's really young and I don't know.
Yeah.
So no pressure, and then it just exponentially shot off, and it's crazy.
I feel like that makes it even more special then. Because,
very much so.
Because you were utilizing that time essentially in a mindset where you weren't putting pressure on yourselves. Like I mean, you just said that, but I just think that's really cool that you built the foundation of your relationship there instead of building it upon like a foundation where you both have this expectation of like, okay, like we like need to make this work or we need to like ditch like stat.
Right. Because it's not like we both had that like future want in our mind, which is like we both want to have a family with a person. It doesn't have to be this person, but a person in the future. And that's a big priority. I want this person to love God. I want this person to have that relationship. And it's like, well, this might be the person. Just, you know, let's just kind of play this out. You know, let's just put a little trust in the field, see how this goes. Boom. Return a little bit. It's like, okay, great. Let's play a little bit more. See how this keeps going. Lo and behold, bam, kind of turns out like that.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And that's not for trying, and it's not for having frustration along the way.
Sure.
Like every relationship is. I mean, it's two humans.
Absolutely.
Give me a break, dude. It's not like people don't fight. Especially with guy friends.
Yep.
That's one thing I do want to talk about is guy friends.
Guy friends. Oh boy.
This is a big frustration in my mind. And it pisses me off quite a significant portion. Have you seen Star Wars?
I sure have.
Okay.
Of course.
So you remember the, I think it's the Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, not that one.
Is that the last one?
What
was the first of the last trilogy? You know the movie.
Yes.
So there's one scene.
Force Awakens.
Yeah, Force Awakens. Thank you.
Boom.
See, this is why I don't do that on the show, talking about random series and trilogies of movies. I talk about movies, but not like that.
Well, if you would have said any of the first 6, I would have been right on the money.
Right on the money. But
the last 3,
they were okay. Not the best.
I'm still mad they got rid of all the books.
Still.
All right, just fine. All right, continue.
So there was one scene where Rey was scavenging, right? And she got her haul in for the day, and she took it to the place to cash in for food, for portions, right?
Yep.
She puts her item on the counter. This big Gronk guy looks at it and goes, 1/4 portion. 1/4. So I've taken that phrase and I say quite a significant portion constantly. And Ellie always makes fun of me for it because she knows exactly what it's from. She's like, you're just still doing that thing, wagging a finger at me. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. But guy friends, it upsets me because we always have. So, okay, here's where girls have an advantage with girls being friends with girls is they care so damn much, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes too much to the point where they get pissed when somebody becomes friends with somebody else and maybe doesn't prioritize that relationship.
Yeah.
Guys, on the other hand, we lack a lot of intentionality.
We care, but not so damn much.
Yeah, not so damn much. So like when it comes to building relationships and growing those and fostering them, focusing, and this is, of course, where guys fall a lot of times with building relationships with women, is we don't invest, right? because it takes a lot of energy and time to maintain friends with people.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that because they're in high school or they're in college and it's a pressure cooker and it's like you're around these people all the time. So you're kind of like force-fed your friends.
Right.
So it's like, I'm friends with you because you're in my class. You're in 6 of my 8 classes.
Is true.
That's true.
That's what happened to us.
Yeah. Being the same major definitely helps. But after that, like we went out of our way to hang out outside of the classroom.
Definitely.
We went out of our way after college, not only keep in touch, get together, keep our friend group together. We still hang out to this day, today actually, with a group project group that we had.
Yeah, which from a group project group from 3 years ago.
Nuts.
Wow.
Nuts. It's crazy. I mean, think about it. Like that's intentionality. So I want to get your opinion on like men and friends and like prioritizing relationships and like what does that look like? Because my opinion pisses me off because we fail and suck at it.
Yeah, I mean, just to start it off, I really feel like it is a two-way street. It has to be effort from both sides.
Definitely.
If it's not effort from both sides, then I don't think it's going to work in the long run. And that's something I've struggled with a lot with some of my longtime friends that I had in high school.
Yeah.
Is like, of course, I still wanted to remain friends, but I always felt like my effort was greater.
Did you feel that those relationships, and
Sure,
I just want to hear your opinion.
Yeah.
Did those kind of fall a little bit to the wayside due to situation, or was it like, or was it that they just didn't care anymore? Like, was it circumstance, or was it like a lack of priority?
I think it might be a little combo of both. Because I guess when it comes to my mind, the group that I think of, or the couple guys that I think of, it really is just because like they found their jobs, they've kind of found their groove in life.
Sure. Which
is a very different groove from my life.
And that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine. Absolutely. We're all meant for different things. But within that groove, there wasn't really any space to, I guess, keep that growth between us. Yeah. So I think it just made it difficult because as much as I want to keep the relationship and keep the effort going, at what point do you decide, okay, enough's enough? Like if they don't want to reciprocate, like,
right.
Why do I still try? Why do I still put in my effort into something that at this point, like it's not even fun for me anymore to try to keep this together. So
right. It's like if I don't text you first, are you texting me back kind of thing? Like, I mean, that's obviously super shallow way to think about it, but it's a good analogy in that, like, if I'm not reaching out and constantly poking and prodding, saying, hey, let's hang out, is anything ever going to happen?
Right.
And the answer is no. Let's just be honest with yourself, because that's sometimes what happens, because that's exactly what happened to me and a lot of mutual friends that Mitchell and I had from our high school small group of guys from church.
Yeah.
A lot of good guys. Some of
Definitely.
them were not so great. It goes both ways, right? And of course, some of them may still be friends with each other. That's fine. But it always came down to, if I didn't go out and say, hey, let's get together, let's do this thing, it would never happen. And I started to realize, like, okay, like I don't think, and also some of them were not the greatest influences. So I kind of had to reevaluate those friends. Like, are these relationships that for the long term is something that I want to invest in? Like, is this where I want to put my social capital? How do you view your friends from before that may have slipped to the wayside? Is it friends that you wish you could have stayed friends with? Or was it kind of like okay, maybe that was okay?
I do think like every chapter in your life is supposed to only be for a chapter, or every relationship in your life is only supposed to be like a chapter for your story. And
every chapter is a chapter.
Yeah. I'm smart, I think.
Hey, listen, IQ 0. You got
Perfect. But I do think like some people are only meant for a portion of your life, and you're supposed to learn a lesson from that relationship, whether like from the good things, the bad things, the everything between things. I think you're supposed to learn from that and then take those lessons into your next relationships. That's not to say that you can't still have relationships from the initial chapters of your life, because they're like, my 2 best friends are still from high school. So, and I guess this year.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this year would be our 10 years of friendship because we met in 9th grade.
That's wild.
And we're not all together. We're all a long distance friendship. So we somehow still make that work. We still text every day. We still play video games on the weekends as our way to hang out.
Yeah,
but
of course.
Like I said, going back to like the effort part, that's them putting in their time and their social capital and their effort to hang out with me and each other.
Yeah.
Just like I am with them, which makes total sense to me. And like, that's why we click so well. Cause like we want to hang out. We want to speak to each other.
There's the mutual care.
Therefore like they make it happen. So
yeah. So we were joking earlier today.
Yeah.
So we were sitting in the pool, and so we have a mutual friend, Evans, who's my best friend from high school.
Yep.
Actually from from before middle school.
He's so a long
time. I think I want to do the math later, but I think it's like we've been friends for almost 13 years.
That's a long time.
It's a long ass friendship. Like we've seen each other through many stages of life, but this man is horrible at texting and keeping up with you. Like gosh,
love him to death.
Love him to death, but gosh darn disgusting. And this year he actually went out of his way to reprioritize making sure he's putting that effort forward. And this is something that I need to start doing. He has been writing letters to people after he goes to see them.
I really like that.
Which, I mean, I'm telling you,
that's really cool.
It's something.
What a wise guy that Evans.
I know.
that Evans is.
So after the wedding,
which
I'm not about to talk more about the wedding, he went to go see my parents.
Yeah.
Right. Because just have dinner with them, and so did his older brother, just to kind of crash and debrief. Everybody needs to debrief. We were all doing it, whatever. After he met with them, he wrote them a letter. My parents.
I'm sure they appreciated that so much.
Well, it's so surprising. You don't expect it anymore.
Yeah. Like it's not a normal thing by any means.
Because if you can hardly get people to call each other,
right?
And somebody then writes you a letter, like what kind of, that's crazy. That's such another, you have to find their address. You have to pen a letter, and not type, by the way, purposefully written, a letter, envelope, stamp, then put in the mail.
Yeah, the amount of effort that takes more so than just shooting a text.
Yes. Or an email or whatever.
Astronomical. Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, especially for us. It says a lot. So after the wedding, I got a letter from him.
Yeah.
Because he's not the greatest public speaker. And so when he was giving his best man speech, it was prototypically him. It
Definitely.
was perfect. Encompassed his personality. I wouldn't have had it any other way. But he wrote me a letter so heartfelt, and with all of the missing pieces from what he didn't say at the wedding, I was in tears.
No doubt.
I was literally crying.
Yeah.
Because it was so true to himself that it was like I'm literally holding a piece of you. You took time to write this, to then mail it to me so that I can have it and keep it and document it. A text would just be like, zoop. There it goes.
Yeah, maybe you screenshot it, but
maybe it gone. I delete the thread, gone forever. Now I have it. I literally have it stored in that cabinet.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
It's crazy. It's talk about prioritizing a relationship. So before I go over time, we are going to send you to the halftime show where we will be talking about some sort of nonsense.
We're about to find out.
So we will see you on the other side. What's up, everybody, and welcome to your Man Card mini episode within the main Man Card episode, as we like to call it around here, the halftime show.
The halftime show.
So today's topic is going to be hats.
Hats.
I notice you're wearing a hat.
This is my favorite hat.
Is it really?
It sure is.
So
It's my favorite clothing company. My favorite hat.
So where did you get that hat?
Well, I got it on Amazon.
Oh,
but
Jeffrey Bezos.
he's pretty helpful. I mean, he just went to space. That's kind of cool.
Hey, the final frontier, as they say.
Wait, hang on. Before we get further into hats, did you see the crew that went up to space with him?
Were they all?
It was his brother.
Okay.
It was an 18-year-old hedge fund kid, and then it was the first woman or U.S. astronaut to go to space. So the 18-year-old kid took the spot of another rich guy who decided last second to forfeit his spot. So the 18-year-old kid's dad bought him the seat for $18 million. I'm not even joking.
See, I don't know how to feel about that. Should I be like, dude, that's sick. The kid got to go.
I'm jealous.
I would want to do that. I'm not 18. I'm 23.
Yeah.
I've missed the boat if I'm not. Damn, 18 in a hedge fund?
So he is now the youngest person to go to space.
That's wild.
Yep. All right. Sorry. Back to hats.
Back to hats. So where did you get that hat? And why do you like wearing hats?
So, well, in this particular instance, I like hats because it saves my hair from looking crazy. We just spent time with our friend in the pool and hanging out, and my hair just going crazy. So we couldn't have that.
No, of course not.
So I threw this bad boy on, looking good. And
it's an ego saver.
Yeah, it just saves me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I like that. And no, go.
Normally I don't wear them unless I need an ego saver because my hair is pretty dang good.
No, your hair's sexy all the time, dude. I always like to compliment whoever's on the show because they're always freaking sexy. But in the future,
yes,
and the point of the halftime show,
yes,
is to call out what makes this show possible.
Yes,
and that is mancardpodcast.com. Go to the website.
Yes.
That we don't get money on this show. This is kind of a passion project. So I'd love it if you would go to mancardpodcast.com because in the future we may be thinking about doing some hats.
I will definitely buy one
because
I also want one of these bad boys.
We got my crew neck right here.
It's so sexy.
The lady that we did the embroidery with,
yeah,
she kind of stretched out the logo, but you can't tell online. Hey, stop looking so close. Go to mancardpodcast.com. We'll send you right back to the main episode. See ya.
Take care. Well, welcome back, everybody. We just had our little halftime doozy of a show.
I know, and this time it was hats.
Hats and Jeff Bezos.
Hats?
So you better have paid attention. There's a quiz coming at the end of this.
Quiz coming. He wore a cowboy hat.
He sure did. What a stud.
I mean, come on. They say the space is the new Wild Wild West, but come on, man. He's looking so good.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
also
he's
bald,
the best
right?
looking billionaire there is.
Is he really?
No, I mean, that's my own opinion.
Okay.
I think he is.
Have you seen the photos of before and after Amazon?
Oh my gosh.
It's beauty that only money can buy.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if it's like money makes you sexier, but
well, it did for him.
It did for him, man. And I'm telling you, it made him look hecka good.
He looks like a stud now.
Hey, Jeffrey, come on. Call me up. I need to get rid of this double chin over here. But in the spirit of friends, in the spirit of male friendships in general,
sure,
I want to bring up this beer. It's been sitting on the table this whole time, not sponsored, but it's from a brewery called Pontoon Brewing. And it's just down the road over here in Sandy Springs.
Nice.
So if you're listening to this, check it out. They've got they specialize in sours. So I thought we would do a little impromptu beer tasting.
Beautiful.
On the show. We got the glasses over here. And a little story about this beer. Let me crack it real quick with the ASMR right here. Let's see what we got.
That was money.
Ooh, welcome to Man Card Podcast, where I got to go clean up my pants, I'll tell you that.
There you go.
Get the nice little head there.
Beautiful.
Look at that.
Thank you.
I'll trade you. Okay, so this beer came from last night. One of our new couple friends. They're engaged now. They're getting married this fall.
Amazing.
Caden, what's up, dude? And your fiance Bailey. Hello. They came over.
Yeah, what a cool name that is, Caden. I just had to say that because that is a cool name.
My sister's boyfriend's name is Cade.
That's also a really cool name.
And so talk about the coolest people
hey,
ever.
we got Noah and John here. They're most plain Jane names ever.
What's up, dude? We are biblical. So Caden came over, and of course, as a nice guest, you bring bearing gifts.
Absolutely.
Which is just stud level 100. I'll leave this right here so you can see the label. If you're not looking on YouTube, we're on YouTube. Check it out. And he came over and said, hey, as they were leaving, I'm going to leave this.
Well, cheers.
Cheers, dude.
Oh, I like that.
That's good.
That's really good.
It's funny. So he made me try two of their sours last night. And one was a lemon meringue sour. And it was
that sounds phenomenal.
So good. And the other one was, as a kid, you had
Yeah.
those popsicles.
Yes.
It was those like red, white, blue popsicles.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Today, those are stuff of legend. But this was a beer that was soured to taste like those. It was some of the best beer I've ever had. Ever.
Sign me up.
So it was good. It was
That
really
sounds
good.
incredible.
Yeah, so I thought on the show we would show some appreciation for Caden, give it a little dink it,
Hey, thank you, Caden.
and sink it. Delish. Thank you, Caden. Thanks for coming over last night. We look forward to seeing you and your lovely fiance come back over again, and hopefully soon, wife.
Awesome.
We'll have them back
Congratulations,
over.
guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations. I love giving people a reason to tune into the show. Because, hey, look, we're friends here. This is like a family show.
Absolutely.
Where's Dominic Toretto when I need him? Freaking family. Family. Did you say family? I'm going to drift my car. Family. Have you seen those memes?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, there's like I saw one that really put me on the floor, but it was like a family medicine doctor. And he was like, I'm not just a doctor. I'm a family. And it was him walking into frame with the whole like Fast and Furious crew and like doing a squat. Family medicine. It was like, dude,
I
come
love
on.
that.
So good. But so this beer, the reason I wanted to bring it up was this is I think a really good encapsulation of friendship because you do this every time I see you. And it's hilarious. One of my favorite seltzers now is one that you introduced to me.
That's right.
Scofflaw. Never knew it existed until you brought it over. And now every single time you come to see me, it's like a meme at this point. You bring me Scofflaws and put me on my ass. Every time. It. So the last time we hung out was at Evans's house.
That's right. Yep.
And you brought me a Scofflaw. And I was already 2 bottles of wine deep.
Which I was already so impressed that you were still standing.
/ concerned. You were like, is this guy good? Later, that most drunk role switched over to Evans. He was toasty for sure. But that's just like, it's just so subtle. It's so subtle. And it's nice to say like, okay, like, that's just a beer.
Yeah.
And he was like, I have literally 40 of these beers because I was supposed to give them away to something else.
Sure.
In my fridge. Please keep it. I do not want it. Because I was like, here, take your beer. Like, I don't want you to leave it. And he was, and to you, the giver, it feels like nothing.
Right.
But to you, the receiver, it's just like, whoa, like this is so special for you to go out of your way.
This guy actually likes me.
Like you care. Like this is a relationship you care about. And so I always appreciate it when you bring the Scofflaws by.
Absolutely.
I need to find my thing because I haven't ever been over to your place.
Yeah.
Because where are you living now?
So right now, since moving out of Midtown Atlanta, I now live with my parents. And
yes, dude. Every time somebody says I live with my parents, it makes me so excited.
Moving after being independent and then moving back home, it's a little bit of a doozy.
Oh, yeah.
But after that 2-3 week trial period, I guess, so to say, it's the best. You don't pay rent. Well,
nope.
Hopefully.
I mean, maybe.
I mean, you could. Yeah, you could. But my parents are kind enough to not charge me rent. They offer me free groceries and bring me food whenever they go out.
That's so nice.
Which is really, really ideal.
And that's the thing. So they do not have to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But me and thinking in the context of now I have a wife, I'll have kids eventually.
Right.
I would want nothing more than to encourage a relationship where my kids want to come back home.
Yeah, and it's cool too because now that I'm an adult, I have an adult relationship with both my parents,
and it's great.
Yeah,
you can drink a beer with your dad.
Exactly, and the way I see it is it's no longer it's less of a parent and a child type of situation. It's right. Now, I mean, obviously they're still my parents, but it's more of an equal relationship.
Yeah. They look into your life and they're interested.
Exactly.
Versus concerned.
So they don't lead.
Yeah.
But I mean, they still offer guidance, but they don't lead my life. Now I lead my life, but they still get to be a part of that, which is really special.
Yeah. No, super. And so with that, one of the reasons why I ask where you were living, because Mitchell's also living at home. And I lived at home.
What a stud, that Mitchell guy.
The difference, I know he's always a stud. Greek God, I'll tell you that. But you're living at home with a job.
I sure am.
Right?
Yep.
I moved back home after I graduated, jobless. And that's a very different experience. And I'm not saying it's different from you, but I'm saying for me, it was very unique because I was kind of going back home and I felt like a failure. I felt like a big fat failure because I moved home, and usually, you know, after college, you get the job, maybe move back home for 10 or 20 minutes and then get on with your life.
Dip out. Yeah.
Go to New York, go to California, go to the wherever, the Ozarks, doesn't matter.
Sure.
But it's like, what am I doing? Like, I'm at home again. I don't have a job. I failed. I failed.
In that situation, when you did come home, were your parents like super supportive? Like, how did they react to that situation?
Didn't even question it.
Really?
Yeah. And
That's
I think it was more in terms of like, they knew me as a person. So like, I'm definitely not a failure to launch by any means. So they knew that with me coming back home, because I was utilizing their generosity to catapult onto the next stage.
Definitely.
Because and during that period of time when I didn't have a job, middle of the pandemic, being kicked out from school because COVID was like yeet to all the students. In the midst of all of that, I approach my dad and say, hey, I think I want to propose to Ellie. Like, what kind of move is that? Like, what idiot proposes in the middle of a pandemic with no job, living at home with their parents? This guy, this dummy. And so, and he was like, Noah, like, that's amazing. You should do that. And I was like, but I'm concerned to go to her dad. I don't want to go with no prospects. And he said, no. Like, you graduated from Georgia Tech. I know you. I know your heart. You are the prospect. Like,
absolutely.
And so I was like, damn, Dad, impart some wisdom. Like, that's good. Like, you need to be the self-worth. You can't find your self-worth in a job.
No.
You should never. You should never find your self-worth in money or dollar signs.
Absolutely not.
And you shouldn't put your self-worth in anything that's outside of yourself. You should always find that self-worth in here.
Right.
I mean, it's a little redundant. Self-worth in yourself. Yeah, of course. But like, it should be never anything external.
And I do think that sometimes that is hard, because like even I struggled with that a little bit, like coming out through high school and into college. And, you know, I always thought that I wanted to be like the best. I wanted to like prove to everybody else, like, yo, look at me now. Like,
when you're awesome.
I try.
Well, that's the thing. So that's called, obviously you're joking because you're an amazing guy.
Yeah.
But self-deprecation, and I love employing that, because it's like, to anybody else, it just looks like humility, right? But to yourself, you're kind of, there's a little nugget of truth in it, where you're like, I don't think I'm the shit. You know what I mean?
Not quite.
I don't
Not
think,
quite.
I don't think I'm there.
Yeah.
And you'll never feel like you're there.
Right.
And that's what you have to get around.
Yeah. And I think part of this whole process of being a young adult, a young professional, is learning that your worth isn't dictated by your success or your dollars, or I guess your income or whatever else.
Your dollar bills.
Your dollar bills.
Your racks.
What you got in your pocket. And that's a lesson that I had to learn, and it's one of the most important lessons I've had to learn in my life, honestly. Like learning that it is more about what's going on in here and what's going on in here, rather than what's going on in my wallet or what's going on my resume. Because like at the end of the day, at the end of my life, that doesn't matter.
The piece of paper can go to hell.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It doesn't
like,
matter.
Like, you're on your deathbed. What are you going to want to...
All I'm going to think about is all of my like adventures, like my loved ones, my relationships, my friends. I'm not going to think about my job that I got straight out of college.
Do you want your trophies, your stacks of money, to be surrounding you on your deathbed? Or do you want your family? Dominic Toretto.
Family.
Fast and Furious. The Fate of the Furious. Fast 9. Oh my gosh, too many. But that's, I mean, like, really it comes down to family and what you prioritize.
Right.
So the reason I bring that up is we had before the show talked about this saying. It's just this phrase.
Yeah.
Where am I going? Ooh. It's a doozy of a question.
You know, that's deep.
Yeah.
On like 18 different levels.
Yeah. And I'm like, it's like, and we were talking about this earlier too today.
Yeah.
You turn what age this year? Just impart on the people out there.
I don't really like to think about this, but I'm turning 25 this year.
Dude, quarter of a century.
Which
shivers.
boggles my mind. Woo. I need to drink to that one.
Drink to that one, dude. I'll tell you. But it's funny to think like one guy I work with. Yeah. So he's one of the paint associates at the store. And he doesn't look a day over maybe 28, 29.
Right.
Maybe edging up on 30. He's like 44 years old.
Wow.
Right. And we were just having a kind of a more of a deep talk than usual the other day. And I was just chatting with him, and he was saying like, hey, yeah, like, you know, sometimes I'm like, what am I doing? Like I'll catch myself in just tint and paint or whatever. And he's like, what am I doing with my, like, why am I here?
Like he asks himself that question.
Like he's being outside of himself and retrospectively saying like, what am I doing?
You know, recently I've been having the same like predicament, like I don't know, just thought process. Like I'm sitting there.
What's been going on?
Just like staring at my computer, staring at Excel, staring at financial modeling tools, whatever.
Wait, are you a consultant? Tell me this. Is it all that it's cracked up to be?
I hope I still have a job after this.
Listen, you haven't said who you work for.
I think it can be. I think, so I follow, I'm going to start off with this. I follow a bunch of like Instagram meme accounts about consulting.
Okay.
And a lot of them always joke around like you don't get paid enough for the amount that you work. And it's all about the exposure.
Right.
The exposure. You're getting exposed to so many different things, so many different people, so many different companies.
You're growing.
Exactly. Which at the end of the day, yes, you get a whole lot of that.
A whole lot of experience.
Awesome. But the way that I now see consulting, it really is just like that exposure is, you can either use it one of two ways. You can use it as a stepping stone to launch your career to the next level and like decide what you want to do and like where you want to take your skills afterwards.
Sure.
Or you can just keep refining it and stay in consulting. I've realized that I definitely want to take my skills and like find other opportunities one day.
What's it like to come to that kind of perspective where you're doing what you're doing? Because I might be in the same place too, where I like what I do. I like talking to people. I like sales.
Right.
But at the same time, at the end of the day, I come home and I'm thinking, damn, like I feel like I could be doing more.
And that's like what like gets me all riled up.
Yeah,
it's
right.
like I'm sitting there thinking like while I'm scrolling through Excel spreadsheets or whatever, I'm like, I could be doing more.
Yeah, right.
I could be doing more. And with my personality and like the way that I am built as a person, I need two things. I need a challenge, and then I need purpose. And there's a lot of times, especially recently, that where I feel like I'm not challenged.
Sure.
And I don't really feel like I have all that much purpose.
So the purpose part.
Yeah.
So we talked about this briefly before we started recording, like just before.
Yeah.
Which was like, where am I going?
Right.
That can be let's just do the main question, right? Like, where am I going? And then the sub question within that is, what for?
Yeah.
What am I doing this for?
$250,000,000 question.
Yeah. Like why? Even just smaller than that. Why?
And so my best friend from high school, he's a really wise dude. I look up to him in a lot of ways. And there was a time, I think it was smack dab in the middle of COVID, where I was really struggling.
Sure.
And I just did not know what I was doing, where I was going with my life. And he sat me down and had that conversation with me. He said, listen, you need to find your why.
Yeah.
You need to sit down and really like manifest it within yourself and like think about like what drives you and what makes you happy. You need to find your why, because otherwise you're never going to be fulfilled. Yeah. And to be honest, since then, I think I've gotten better at like kind of discovering like little bits and pieces of what makes me tick, but I don't think that I've quite found my why. Yeah. And I don't think you have to immediately. I think that's a growing process. That's something that's going to take a lot of time and probably, for me, at least a couple of years. It should. I think beginning the process is important. You need to find your why. You need to find what pushes you and what drives you.
So have you heard of this? And he's kind of like a speaker, just a big speaker, Simon Sinek.
I've heard the name.
Okay, so he's glasses, super smart guy. Yeah. And he came up with this concept called the golden circle.
Golden circle.
I see you eyeing it. Go for it. So the golden circle is basically this concept of working out instead of in. Yeah. So a lot of companies, let's put Apple on the map. Sure. You have, if they started out and worked into the why, right? They started with the product features and like what we offer from the product. Right. We have a computer that goes, to the internet and back blazing fast. Yeah. This and that, and offers this spec and has 8K resolution screen, whatever. So they're working into the why, right? And they finally get to it. Do you want to buy our computer? You would say, probably not. That doesn't inspire me as a consumer to want to buy anything. And it doesn't inspire you on a day-to-day basis. Like, here's the job thing, details. Here's your perks that you get with the job, XYZ. Do you want to work for us? I don't know. Flip the script. Start with the why. Do you fancy yourself a Rembrandt and somebody who is an individualist, who seeks adventure and seeks excitement from the world around you?
Yes.
Come work at our company.
If they hit me with that, I'd say yes immediately and go work for them.
I mean, if you can reframe your life to the why, which is kind of this golden circle concept.
Right.
And I'll link the video in the description because it's definitely worth a watch. If you don't watch anything else on YouTube, definitely watch that. Stop this show. Go to the description.
Hop on over.
Ditch us. Don't even watch us, honestly. But if you reframe your life to the why, like, why am I even doing something? It's like, in my life, I want to have the richest family experience, the most loving relationship with my wife I can, and live every day to the fullest as if it's my last. Want to come live with me? Like that. I mean,
yes. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Where do I sign?
Yeah. Instead of going through life saying, okay, all right, I had this internship and then I went and then I worked here for a little bit and then I got this experience and I got this certification. No.
Which in my process of kind of discovering my why, that's how I did it initially, which don't do that, kids. Don't do it.
never be, and this is just a piece of advice that I could give to myself in the past if I could time travel.
Yes.
And I like to think that I did have this back then, but I definitely have it now. Don't be a resume chaser. Don't ever do something just to put something on your resume.
Don't do it.
Go in the reverse. Do something and then discover later, hey, that's a marketable skill. Yeah. I can put that on my resume. Especially in high school and early college. I interned with AT&T right after my freshman year.
Nice.
I would recommend not doing that.
Oh, not nice.
I would say use that summer after your freshman year. Do something crazy. Whether that's traveling, I know you love to travel.
Yeah.
I would say whatever you do, have a purpose to it, right? If you're gonna go to Spain or Morocco, go to Spain or Morocco. But why are you going? Don't just aimlessly go somewhere. Same thing with New York or like California. Like if you're gonna move to LA, don't just move to LA. Yeah, that's stupid. You're gonna get out there and you're gonna be lost. You're gonna be drowning. Move to LA. Move to New York. Move to freaking Wisconsin with a purpose.
Right.
Go there and say, like, I'm going for X, Y, and Z. I want to get the most out of this experience.
Definitely.
And to grow, right? Especially if you're going to sacrifice an internship for that.
Yeah.
Because you're going to learn way more living in the world than like being in a cube and doing nothing all day.
And honestly, like, that's my biggest fear. My biggest fear right now is having a life where I sit behind a computer screen staring at spreadsheets for 30, 40 plus years until I retire. And like, it drives me crazy. Yeah. It drives me absolutely crazy.
Well, and I'm in the same boat except flipped. I'm over here talking with people every single day, working sales, doing that kind of thing. And now I'm nervous that I'm about to shoot myself in a corner and have no growth, have no ability to grow.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So whereas you get a lot of that exposure, I'm kind of over here in the other corner doing exactly what I swore I wasn't going to do, which was pigeonhole myself. Yeah. Every college decision, I was like, I'm not going to pigeonhole myself. I'm going to be broad. And then here I am doing one thing. It's like, I want to grow. So you and I are at a crossroads, man.
Who would have thunk?
Who would have thunk? Hey, look, let's get one last drink in here, kind of coming into the close of the podcast. Thank you, Caden, for that. That was a treat of the episode. And we're so glad you joined us today because obviously John and I like to go deep. We're not one to shallow. We go balls to the wall.
Try our best. Absolutely.
we try.
Fair enough.
But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Obviously, we're blessed that you came by, stopped by, said hey, engaged in the comments, throw us a like if you feel like it, and go over to wherever you listen to podcasts, drop a comment, give a description, Give us 5 stars if you feel like it, and because I want to see the engagement out there. That's one thing that I want to grow out there and foster as a community. Because whereas we like to prioritize relationships here on the show,
right,
we want you to feel like you're part of a community out there as well. So definitely engage with us. Send us an email, mancardpod@gmail.com. Engage with us on social media, Mancard Podcast, all handles, and mancardpodcast.com. We want to see you.
And be sure to buy the hats when they come out.
Yeah, there's future hats. You have our word now. Future hats coming soon. Hopefully. I've been saying it for like 25 episodes. Hopefully coming soon in the future. But thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on Friday.
Peace.